starting to tell everybody that you're leaving, then they probably didn't even get the message. So instead of having a graceful leaving, you suddenly are in this situation of, hey, where's Bill? Where's the Bill node? And failure detection kicks in, they declare him unreachable, and basically you can go into unreachable from any kind of state, right? Because it's the heart-beating transition. If you don't reply to heartbeats, you can become unreachable, and you can come back again. But at some point, if the node is not coming back for minutes or days, usually minutes, you will want to declare it as down, right? So we have a auto-downing feature, but it's not really safe because it's a bit racy. We do have a commercial add-on that's the split brain resolver that does a kind of voting if we should down the person or not. Or you can decide on the downing by hooking into an external monitoring system, right? The external monitoring system gives you an alert, okay, the node is really down, and then you call the down in the Akka cluster. By default, we don't eject nodes just on a whim. And now, the problem is, what if a node wasn't really down, it was just GCing for 5 minutes, right? Everybody thinks it was down because, 5 minutes not replying to heartbeats must have been down. You declare it down. And the thing that happens then, when it comes back, is we basically say that you're already dead. I don't want to talk to you anymore because, well, you've been away for a very long time. You probably calculated something on stale data. And I don't want to talk with you anymore. You're a zombie. Sorry. Right? So this is specifically about, in the Akka cluster, in Akka persistence specifically, we try to maintain what we call the single writer principle, right? And this is, we really try to err on the consistent side of things by default, right? So if I declared someone down, I basically do not want to trust any of the things he's doing. I also will assume that if I downed him, then I take over all of his responsibilities. And even if he comes back and wants to still do his responsibilities, we've moved on already, right? So that's on that side of things. However, there's the other side of things, which is Akka distributed data, which is just CRDTs, which is on the opposite spectrum, right? There's a partition, the partition heals, everybody converges, and there's no conflicts, there's no single writer, everybody writes all the time. So again, you need to pick the tool appropriate to a use case, right? And a small reminder, people sometimes get confused. Quarantine, you may have seen it in the logs maybe sometimes. So quarantine is a state of underlying remoting transport. Right? So the cluster doesn't really deal about quarantine, right? We only talked about unreachable and down. Okay, pretty much one of the last things I have to say today is that Akka is a toolkit. I keep stressing that, and I try to explain it as many times as I can. And basically, we try to be a small library of things that you can pick and choose from. However, sometimes people would ask, we now have Akka HTTP, right? And does Akka HTTP compete with Play? No, it doesn't completely, because we're a very, very low-level thing, which doesn't help you with anything which Play helps you with, like maintaining the database connection pools, compiling your JavaScripts, etc., doing the reloading of the pages. That's all Play things, right? We never want to do those things on a... so Play is focused on developer productivity, which usually means more stuff. We're on the less stuff, the better. Which is, Runa did this awesome talk, and it's being quoted a lot on Scala conferences. Martin quoted it as well in the beginning of the conference here. So constraints liberate and liberties constrain, which is that you should be picking the least powerful abstraction, right? Kind of funny to hear it from Akka guy, because Akka actors are basically far there, they can do anything, right? However, sometimes that's exactly what you need, right? So here's power, here's constraints. So futures, okay, sometimes fun, but we're limited to a single value inside there, right? If I want to have multiple values and compute like things average or compute compute something on a stream of data, then you have Akka streams. And Akka streams are more limiting than Akka actors, not only because of your local abstraction, but also because the layout is static, kind of. Right? You explain to Akka streams what the flow of the data will be, and you run it. Whereas in actors, they can be completely dynamically moving and starting and stopping and talking to whoever they want, right? However, what Akka actors do greatly is distribution, right? Because of the messaging at the core of it, you can very easily go into a distributed setting and back and forth, because the programming model remains the same. Yeah, this is basically what I've been saying here. Akka typed, yes, it's still experimental, but if you have time, try it out. We're still happy to receive feedback, and we'll see how we can take it further. Okay, so like I said, we try to be a toolkit. And yeah, last but not least, really the community, right? It's a big part of what Akka is, and